All set? All right, we are gonna open the Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, June 29th, 2020 at 4:31. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do we have anybody on the Zoom link?
Yes, there are two people, Christina Eckert and Jim S. are on Zoom.
Okay. Let's see, we have resident public comments with Joe Demore.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Mike, for the privilege of addressing the board. Joe Demore, 9 Cherry Tree Lane. I'll make this brief. It's only public comment. I do believe that the natural evolution of our town government ultimately is to have some form of town manager or town administrator. This is a precedent that's very widely seen in Massachusetts. The 351 municipalities, 292 of them have a town meeting form of government like we do. 173 of those communities have town administrators, 76 have town managers, 6 have town coordinators. So there's different forms, and I think that the complement of a 5-member board with some form of a town administrator is, again, a very natural evolution. I do believe that it might be beneficial for the Board of Selectmen to consider putting together a committee of citizens with a special charge, and that charge is not to decide whether, we should do it or not. The charge is to how to do it, and there's different avenues. I've prepared a couple of reports for you, an alternative method, and also a report, and I've called the evolution of our government, and I've cited some reasons. For example, town employees will have one authority with a town manager. The town manager or administrator, whatever form we choose, is a chief financial officer, chief procurement officer, chief compliance officer, and chief personnel officer. Now, we've been graced with the wonderful services and dedication of Denise, who is a combination finance director and personnel director. But, ultimately, not something that would be unusual. You can see the precedent that's all over the state of Massachusetts. The overwhelming majority of communities have town managers or some form of town manager, or even combinations of finance director, town manager. I think it's also an opportunity for the 5-member board to continue to grow in its role in governance. Think about how we manage our school system. The school committee doesn't get involved in the administration of the school. The buildings are legally controlled by the principals, and the superintendent is in charge of the administration. So we, through the school committee, hold that person accountable. So you, a 5-member board, would hold a town manager or town administrator accountable. Now, how do we do it? I think 7 ways to do it. First of all, allow me to come back as a full agenda item so that I can put up some slides. I've got about 18 slides, of which I've given to you already, so that I can explain some of the ideas a little bit more deeper and what this committee would look like. And then if it's pleasing to the board, consider possibly forming a committee, soliciting volunteers that would like to join this committee, and then giving us a special charge. Then we come back, provide you with a report. Then you can consider the merits of that report, either reject it or modify it. And then 2 more steps, which I think would be really, really helpful. Actually 3. Have some public information sessions at some point in the future, then bring it to town meeting. And even though probably not required, I would also put it at the ballot. So this way here, it doesn't become any committee's decision, nor the Board of Selectmen. It really is a people's decision. So unless I have any questions, thank you for your time and for listening.
I think we'll save questions for your next requested time, which our next meeting's July 6th.
You asked me to put it on the 6th
Yeah.
agenda.
So I think we should save questions for then, because I know you'll have a lot more information to present, and I know that the town manager, town administrator question is something that we've been juggling with for several months now. And I agree, it's something that we need to put forward, put it to the people, let them know the pluses of why we want to do that and why other towns have moved that way. And then, again, form a committee, go through that process, find the right people, which is going to be part of our discussion later tonight anyways. So, yeah, July 6th works for us.
Okay, so you're suggesting that I can come back because it'll be an agenda. These slides, PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah, how much time do you think you'll need?
I think I think with questions and answers, I need about 10, 15 minutes to present the 18 slides. And then I think if we have some questions, I'm thinking on the inside, 20 minutes, on the outside, 30.
30 minutes?
We have nothing on the agenda for next week, so we can give 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, my days of staying here till 11 o'clock are over, so.
Right, but we have
Let's,
nothing else on there, so.
Let's
for
put it
now.
on for 30 minutes. If
All
we
right.
have to adjust it up and down, we can do that.
All right,
And
very
so,
good.
Joe, if you want to email me your PowerPoint, I can put it on here and run it through the
Oh, that'd be great.
projector.
You'll operate them?
I can
Oh,
operate it.
that's even great. All right, then I'll send you a 500-page report. All right,
Review
thanks
it
a
all
lot.
for us.
Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, we have approved the minutes from June 1st, 2020. Anybody get a chance to read those?
Yes, I've read those. I move approval.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Yep.
Great.
Is anyone abstaining?
I abstained because I
Oh, because you weren't there,
didn't
yeah.
participate in that particular meeting.
But you read them.
I read them.
Sounded good. Let's see. Appointment of Maria Yeagle. That sound right? Yeagle? Of Amesbury to the position of part-time outreach worker for the Council on Aging, effective July 8th, 2020. The position is for 14 hours a week with a starting rate of $17.18 an hour. You want to add something?
Yeah, just briefly, so she was scheduled to be appointed in the first meeting when COVID hit. So we had it on the agenda and then removed it when everything started shutting down. So the Council on Aging has been waiting until we're getting closer to reopen to get her on board. So Lynn has asked it to be back on the agenda, and they'd like her to start next week.
I did read through the documentation in her resume. Very good. I think that'd be an asset to that department. Anybody else have any comments on that?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah.
Her work experience seemed very well qualified for this position. But it not being a full-time position, is she going to continue, do anybody know, the minority outreach coordinator at the City of Haverhill?
She is. She's only going to be here Wednesdays and Thursdays,
Okay.
is what her current schedule is. And then she'll be in Haverhill, I guess, Monday, Tuesday, Friday.
Any questions?
No?
Yeah.
I thought her credentials were exceptional, and I especially like that she is bilingual.
Yes.
Because I don't think we have that in our outreach at this point, and it can come in very handy when it's needed. So I move approval.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Yep.
Thank you for that. All right, we have COVID-19 discussion. Any concerns, policies, or protocols with regards to coronavirus? Claire, what do we got?
So, we're down to one house being quarantined,
Okay,
so that's good, that's great. And the state's doing well, Groveland's doing well, and, you know, there's two people in that one house. Okay,
so those are the only active cases right now?
Right now.
Everybody else has gone through quarantine or recovered?
correct.
Good.
correct.
So
that's
that,
good. So we're up to 35,
Yeah,
no hospitalizations, I mean, you know, since that only one early on, and no deaths.
now that's considerably a contrast from the other states that we've seen in
We've
Florida,
we've done very well.
where
we
they're
really
having
have.
4,000 or 5,000 new cases a day.
It's unbelievable, you know, but I was watching a clip from a visit from Vice President Pence
Yep.
the other day, and there's a choir in Texas, and there were about 100 people in the choir. 100 people in the choir, and they're shoulder by shoulder, and they take their masks off to sing, put them back on when they sit down. So, what do you think of that?
There's a lot of air movement with 100 people that close together singing.
I would say so, yeah, yeah. So, You know, it's unbelievable that all this happened so quickly
Yeah.
down south. You know, they just opened everything up, and this is what happened.
Yeah, that's one way to do it, I guess. Anybody have any questions for Cliff? Yeah.
Yeah, you said two people still have tested positive for the COVID-19. So
Correct.
of the 35 people, we only got two positive
Right now,
right now.
right now.
Right now, but it's, obviously. And I've noticed that within the last week or so, a lot of the municipalities and states are, along with listing the positive cases, I'm sorry, listing the amount of people that have it, they're listing the people that still have it and as well as the people that have recovered. So that, I think that's what a lot of people want to know is, more so than how many people had it, how many people still have it? And that's important, I think that's important. So the two people that have it in one household, that's positive. I'm all set.
Jason, anything?
I'm good.
Kathy?
Well, I guess would this be the time to talk about where we are as far as bringing departments back, or even
That would
thinking
be the
about
next-
starting to set up the town hall so that at some point, people could maybe by appointment, if they had to, come in here? I feel like judging from the town meeting and how, as I sat there, you could just sense that people were not really that comfortable being out. you
There
know?
was uneasiness I felt.
Yes. So I would think that they're not beating down the doors to try and get in here. Everything's being done remotely, from what I've heard, and that's working well. But I thought at this time, I didn't know what the Board of Health, if you were going to be involved in having the posters that might go up on the public education about when the time comes, how do we want to first let people come in if they needed to?
We should definitely work on this together and, you know, get it all set. You know, you can open town hall to the employees first and then take some time to set things up and, you know, take into consideration what the employees can contribute as well.
That sounds reasonable.
Does that
So-
sound reasonable?
So, do you feel like with the number of employees in here, are we allowed yet to have everybody back in this building yet? Are we? Oh, we are. So, do you feel that there needs to be any modifications just to have people come back to their offices? I know we have a couple offices when people are in proximity, right? The Council on Aging and maybe in the finance?
Well, the Board of Health, for instance, you know, there's 3 desks in there, and they're not, you know, stationed 6 feet apart. So, you know, I've been doing most of my stuff, just about all of it from home, which I can do without any problem.
Okay, so what I'm looking for is the Board of Health going to give some kind of recommendation? Or do you think that it should just be the whole town hall employee base recommending, or?
Well, I mean, the state gave us recommendations.
Okay, they did. They have posters and washing and,
No, I mean, they've recommended things to post, but at this point,
what are they saying?
well, I mean, they're saying it's pretty much up to us. Some towns are open, some towns are open fully, some towns are not planning to open for quite some time. I think once we start bringing employees back, there's an uneasiness even amongst employees about everyone being here every day. If one employee gets sick, everyone's gonna get sick because we're all in this building and we're all relatively using the same bathrooms, the same kitchen, the same copy machines. So the concern is if someone does test positive, then you need to look at a bigger picture of quarantining the majority of the folks here that would be in that same communication. I do think July 6th is when we need to bring employees back. I've heard from 2 employees that have childcare issues because either their childcare centers are not yet open, so we'll make arrangements for them. The Council on Aging, they have shared office space, so they're going to alternate days in the office and days from home so that they're not in the same confined space for a period of time. As far as when we plan to open to the public, quite honestly, I don't know. No
But
one's
nothing's not
complained.
getting done,
Yeah,
really,
no
right?
one has
So-
complained, everything's gotten done, we went through an entire billing cycle remotely. Sam's done all his building permits remotely. You know, we could certainly advertise by appointment only, but we're doing that now. We go out and meet with folks in the parking lot.
Oh, you do?
We
Okay.
don't really let them in unless it's, you know, employees or, you know, we've had maintenance folks come in, but we try not to have people come in and go to counters and stuff. We do have all the partitions that we used at town meeting, will go on all the counters and all the offices. One bathroom, we don't even have a staff versus public bathrooms here. We have one bathroom for the staff and the public. You know, we have one kitchen for all the staff to use. So there are those things that we still need to figure out, but I personally think July 6th is the date we need to get folks back to work as regularly as possible. Still no evening hours on Monday, I would say still no Fridays, and get at least Monday through Thursday, you know, 8 to 4, people here as much as they can while working around childcare and office sharing issues.
I do like the July 6th date. I think we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I do like limiting very severely people coming in here that don't need to be here, since everything is still getting done efficiently and on time. So there's no real need to, unless something comes up. And like you said, you can meet in the parking lot or bring one person in at a time if we need to. But I don't, if it was a different situation and things were not getting done and there was a major delay, then I'd say we'd have to look at it. But I think, which moves into the next bullet item, that July 6th is a good date from my perspective. And then, I mean, I don't know how we're gonna do the bathrooms and the cafeteria thing. It's,
Can I
Sorry, go
say
ahead.
something about the bathrooms and everything? Just need to have gloves in there, have a can of Lysol or wipes, and just there's instructions you can put on the door or on the sink, and that people have to wash the sinks off, wash the toilet handle, and wash the toilet too with the wipes, with the gloves on, and then just throw them out and
That'd
we
be-
have all that?
Yeah, I mean, so wipes are still hard to come by. I have wipes that I bought for town meeting in the election, but I bought them in bulk, and they were more geared towards electronics. They're very good, but they're just in a bag, so it's not like even in a secure container that you can close, it's just a bag of wipes. So I don't know how I'd really, unless I could find a container to put them in.
Yeah.
But wipes are the one thing we cannot find.
What about
So-
gloves?
Oh, I have a million gloves.
All right.
Masks and gloves, we have millions of.
And Lysol and spray and,
No.
Yeah.
So we have some Clorox, like the bleach that we use in here, but that's limited because none of that is back in stock anywhere.
Right.
So we're limited with those types of things.
can we make our own little bleach formula with the water and just use that on a paper towel and clean?
But what would we mix with, just bleach and water?
I think there's there's,
You know, you have to be really careful with bleach.
but they have it. They have, places have been able to do that.
Yeah,
Successfully.
I use a lot of Fantastic, or I have, but I haven't been able to find it in a long time. So finally, last week, Fantastic came out with a new solution and has bleach.
Okay.
Okay, so we might, check out Fantastic.
Yeah, I'll see whatever I can find that will kill sort of
This
the
isn't a
majority
spray.
of germs.
This isn't a spray, Denise.
so we're gonna have to rely on individuals to make sure that they clean the handles, clean the seat, clean the door handles, wash
Yeah.
everything.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Steve
Before and
cleans,
after.
Steve cleans them twice a day, or if he's in
Right.
the building, he'll go through and wipe it down, but not once we start having multiple, I mean, right now, there's, 4 people in here, 5 people at max.
Yeah.
So when more people are in and out and using them, they will not be cleaned throughout the day as much
Right,
as
so
they should.
individuals are
People
gonna
have
have
to
to
do
do
it
that. It's like,
individually.
the gym in Plastow, right? Anytime I use something there, I clean it.
Right.
Then I use it, then when I'm done, I clean it again, and it's up to
Right.
the next person to take that responsibility, which is gonna be the same thing here.
Yep, so we can do that.
Which you don't rely on that person to do it, and that's why you do it
No, that's why I do
beforehand.
it twice, right.
Exactly.
I don't see why they can't limit this bathrooms here, employees only, because we have a public restroom just down at the River Pines. I mean, this does not have to be.
Well, there's no
Oh,
public
this
coming
should
in
just be
here.
for,
Right.
I would
Right.
say just employees
I
only,
mean,
no
even
other
when we start
outsiders.
having the
No.
public, if, they,
I don't know that we can close the bathrooms to the public once we open the buildings to the public.
Well, we just don't open the buildings to the public.
right,
Well,
okay, so
well,
then we wait maybe.
If we're
'cause
doing by
that's the one
appointment, just
part.
by
Right, if we're
appointment
doing it by
now.
appointment, you can.
Yeah.
But if, once we open fully, I don't know that we can close the bathrooms to the public.
So, once people are back in this building, let's say that someone in the Council on Aging is diagnosed with COVID. Even though that person maybe never left that office and never saw you and never saw anybody else in here, You would all be quarantined? Is that how it would work?
No, but we'd have to be.
Claire's saying
No,
yes.
But you'd have to, I would say,
That's what I'm wondering.
if you're in and out of the same bathroom, if you're in and out of the same kitchen, if they're using the same copy machine, well, I guess the question would be, how far do you want to go with taking a chance? If an employee gets sick, where do you draw that line of who quarantines?
So the kitchen area is used to use the microwave? I mean, obviously, we wouldn't want people sitting in there to eat.
Correct, and no one sits in there to eat.
Okay.
You'd really have to close the building down.
Even with the, I'm talking about the employees all back,
If one person tests positive,
the whole building.
okay, you gotta close the whole building down.
Or-
Nice if we could divide the building in half and at least keep half the people away from the other half. of
Would they be necessarily quarantined for 14 days, or would they just all have to get tested? I guess I'm just trying to keep up with this, what's happening now. and
You
then.
know, they probably wouldn't have to get tested until they became symptomatic, okay, because it's not gonna happen right away, so,
It'd probably also be determining how much interaction they had with that individual.
if,
So if
if,
someone in this corner gets sick, and Denise is never over there, then
Right,
The
but
odds
if
are
they're in the
slim.
bathroom.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole thing, is, it's not if you're interacting by departments, because everyone is doing a
It's
good
what the
job staying
surface
away
is.
from each other when they're having conversations, it's touching the door handles, using the bathroom, going in the kitchen. I
Right.
mean, I don't know to what extent
Yeah.
you can contaminate those types of things, I just don't know.
Ed,
Yeah, it certainly makes sense if somebody comes down, and you gotta quarantine. Everybody's using the same door to come in and out of, so they're touching the same hardware on the door. But like, in a bathroom, you got the white paper towels that are in there. And I don't know anybody that uses a public bathroom that doesn't grab a paper towel and hit the chain on the toilet or the door going out and then toss it. Even before this happened, I think most people would do that.
Well, you'd hope, but
Well,
we just don't know.
yeah, but if someone else had touched it, and then you go in and you grab a paper towel, flush the toilet, open the door, throw it away, now, you haven't touched anything. And I think, I think most people who use a public bathroom are doing the same thing all the time. Or I would hope
you
they-
can't depend on people to do the right thing, though,
we found that out, right?
seriously.
We've been talking about that for
Perfectly
4 months.
said.
But I also think that people need to wear masks when they leave and walk
Correct.
around in the building, too.
Correct.
Yeah. I was just, I guess it's up in the air. I don't know the answers to my questions. I know I've been reading from the Department of Education what would happen in a school situation. And they would, I think, if there was a positive, they would clean the school. There'd be a 2-day shutdown, and I'm not sure how many people would be quarantined. And that's where the questions are right now. I just don't know. But I guess we have to step forward and see how it goes. We may have our whole
So-
staff working
Right,
from home
So I
again.
do plan to have, I have sort of a letter written, there will be a checklist that every employee will need to sign when they come in. Originally, I was thinking that we do temperatures every day, maybe we just kind of spot check with temperatures, I don't know.
So you're gonna
Every
walk around
day.
with that laser thing and
Just
start
don't have the
shooting
staff to do it, though.
Well, you can leave it, well, people can do it themselves and trust that they're gonna,
Well, they
then you're
might
sharing
not,
that-
they might not hold it in the
Yeah,
right position.
I mean, we can certainly do it on the first day,
Fire chief?
if it's up to me, I just can't be there every morning to check everyone's temperature. So
He can
if
do
there's
it.
a better solution, if we do leave them out, we can leave them out.
or just require people to make sure that they need to check them at home before they come in.
Yeah, because there is a spot that I have for temperatures. The other towns, and I don't know what the right number is, the other towns, the temperature people are using is 100.3.
Correct.
So that's what we should be looking at. Over 100.3, they should be going home, is that?
Yep.
Okay.
My dentist just said 100.
I don't know what the
hap-
0.3, it was
what happened to the
100.3 seems to be
99s?
what's going around.
I mean, some people run a normal temperature of 97.9,
That, I'm
so
told
99.
99.3 is,
97.
you know, gonna be a positive
If I'm,
99.
as far as
99.3 is a
temperature
positive?
goes.
for me, it would be.
Sure.
I
That's a
run,
run
That's a
99
low-grade
constantly.
fever. That's a low-grade fever.
That can't be right.
So what do you
but I run
suggest we use for a
97.5,
temperature?
so 99's a fever for me.
100? Do we use 100?
So
It's
what-
a fever
I
for
work
me,
using
too.
100,
So, I mean,
and I work at a surgical center.
so 100, should we start with 100 and see where we are with
I'd
100?
go home.
Yep, we could.
I wouldn't leave them out for people to do.
Well, that's
No,
what-
no, no.
Because then they're sharing that thing, too.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
We have
And
to
then
wash it each
And then
time.
it's gonna walk.
Right.
Well, again, if the building's closed, you know, people keep saying, oh, my hand sanitizer that's around the building is gonna be stolen. I said, well, first of all, it's in the cameras, and right now it's only employees in here. So if it disappears, yeah, I mean, I can certainly for the first week go around and then we'll figure something out, with temperatures.
Just make people responsible, just like the children, the parents are gonna have to take their temps before they go to school.
Right, we're not doing it at school from what I've read. They said
Right.
they're not gonna do it.
So then just make sure employees do it.
So do we have to vote on the July 6th?
I
We
thought we-
talked about it before.
I mean, you can certainly vote. We've talked about it as being the tentative date that will bring everybody back. Everybody knows that July 6th is the date, but I don't know that you've ever voted it formally, because it's always been, we'll discuss it as it gets
Does
closer.
anybody have a problem voting for the date tonight?
Well, as long as we can provide them with all the supplies. You just said the wipes. Is every office gonna have wipes or not?
We don't have wipes to give out to every office.
I really would like every office to have the
I mean,
gloves,
we
the
have to
mask,
have
and the wipes.
safety in place
We have
before.
gloves,
Have
we
hand
have masks,
sanitizers.
I have Purell, we just don't have the wipes.
Okay. And there's nowhere at the state level we can let them know? I mean, it's
They're in the
just-
same everyone's in the same situation.
Ridiculous. I
The
thought-
wipes, the bleach products, they're just not available yet.
I've got 4 gallons of bleach at home, if you want to use that. But you said not to use it.
I don't be fooling around with bleach.
I mean, I'll look around and see if there's, but until
Dilute
we
it.
have those things, I
What's the
just
Bleach is a
don't
good
have that.
product,
I
but
find
you
wipes
can't be
anywhere, I'll buy
messing
it.
around with it if you don't know
Yeah,
the
but
right
just make sure they're not
concentration.
like,
No, but it gets,
some
No.
people are buying like baby wipes
Anybody
and
been
No,
that's
they're
hoarding
not
not
a-
good. They have
Pardon
to
me?
be the
Know
ones
anybody
that have
that's been
been
hoarding it?
certain percentage.
Bleach?
Correct, correct.
Oh.
All right, well, let's
Okay.
vote on, someone make a motion for the July 6th opening for town employees.
Pending childcare and office sharing issues.
And this
on
is,
some
this
of
goes
it.
to the library as well,
Yep,
so it'll be
so-
town hall and library.
It will be ongoing, but someone needs to make a motion.
I'll
and
make a motion to allow the employees back to the town hall and the library, pending childcare or office sharing issues that need to be worked out, leaving some flexibility in that.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any other discussion?
Did you want to add the safety supplies, like the wipes, to that motion?
We're not gonna be able to get them by
We won't
July
have them from
6th.
the
I wish
6th.
we would.
We have the supplies we have, and until we can get more, then that's not going to change.
How about if we talk to a pharmacist and see if we can make some sort of a solution up?
Gas, chlorine, and water? I mean, what
I
kind
think we should
I
leave,
think you
Soft
can find
scrub and-
solutions on how to make it, on CDC, I think.
I think the most common is alcohol, rubbing
rubbing
alcohol.
alcohol in some kind of lotion or something, wasn't it?
Usually
Well,
it's
that's
aloe
hand
vera.
That's hand
Sanitizer.
sanitizer,
Which I have plenty of that.
yeah.
Even in the
You have
wipes,
plenty of what,
they
alcohol?
normally
Hand
consist
sanitizer.
a tremendous amount of alcohol, because that's what they use.
but would you say that the Fantastic Spray does just as well as a wipe would as far as surface cleaning, Claire? Is that what you're?
Oh, I didn't say that. No, I was just saying that
So the wipes are
Fantastic
better
has a
than
bleach
Fantastic.
solution now.
I have one of those.
So there's no
It's
spray that
brand
we
new.
could get that would take the place of the wipes?
Now, I'll check some of the more specialty sites that I got, like the thermometers that I had to order from Tennessee because we couldn't find them anywhere. I'll check them to see if they have any of those things back in stock. Every place that we normally order from, and that's been the one complaint every week on the calls with the governor's office, that, you know, they're giving us these guidelines to reopen, but then they require us to clean, and there's just not the products to clean. I mean, even the regular, where like, thankfully, I had bought some back in January for the regular building supplies, because like paper towels, we just can't get the stuff right now, and it's still in high demand, so.
All right, so we have a motion and a second for July 6th opening for town employees. I think we've had enough discussion. All those in favor? Okay. Anything else you want to add? I mean, it's kind of
So-
okay in town. Do you want to add something?
Yeah, I just want to ask, so can I ask your thoughts on public opening and what you, I mean, because to me, I would say no sooner than, even by appointment, I would say no sooner than phase 4, which is scheduled for July 20th. But what are your thoughts on that?
It depends on how it goes with the employees and everything. I mean, why don't you,
See how it
at this
goes.
point, yeah, why don't you wait till like Labor Day? Just get through the summer,
Right?
Yeah, like I said, nothing's really
it being
been
by appointment.
lacking as far as efficiency and stuff getting done by the town employees remotely, so I don't see an urgent need to open it up to
Yeah,
everybody.
I've gotten no complaints, no phone calls, no emails, nothing.
So,
Right.
I saw
even if,
one complaint, someone was complaining that couldn't get a hold of somebody in one of the offices here on social media.
Yeah, I saw that too.
You saw,
Oh, I
yeah.
didn't see.
Yeah, mostly we get, even when we call people back, they're very appreciative that we're here, we're calling them back, we're responding to emails. I haven't gotten any complaints through my office.
Yeah. And the ones you've had are minimal, so I think, the longer we keep it closed, the safer it'll be, and then we'll have some more guidelines by Labor Day and stuff, so.
Okay, so can I ask, so I'm just happen to be looking now at products. So there is a portable UV sterilizer wand. And I know that's been questionable on whether or not UV actually is killing the, do we know anything yet about if UV is killing the germs?
Well, I was at my dentist today, and they had a portable UV thing, and I had to put my credit card in there for 30 seconds, and then they took it out, and then they swiped it, and they put it back in there, and then I took it out, and I put it in my wallet, and then they put the pen and the receipt in there, and they, for 30 seconds, and then I took it out, and I signed it, and I put everything back in there for 30 seconds, and then they took it out.
But you don't know if it worked, you just did what they
It
asked you.
looked good, and it was fancy, and it seemed
I don't
logical,
know.
but.
I mean, for $35, I can buy a bunch of these and put them in every office if it works. I just don't know if it works.
What are we gonna use it for?
Well, that would be to clean the counters instead of wipes for the time being, if it's a
Oh, it's a
portable
handheld one?
wand, it's a
I mean,
handheld
like,
wand.
like in the bathroom too?
I don't
Well,
know.
I don't know about the bathroom. Bathroom, I would think we could still use sometime, either
Yeah.
spray or, I just
don't
don't
know.
know if it works,
I don't know.
because that's in stock.
I mean, it seems,
If it's in stock, it probably doesn't.
Well, they just came
Well,
out.
they just came out. This
They
is a
just
new
came
deal.
out.
Yeah.
it
Okay.
seems logical, but, I mean, personally, I'd
Go-
rather
I
use
mean,
hand sanitizer
you know
and
what?
get it in there. And-
Go ahead and purchase some of those under our,
I can order them under our grant. I just don't know if they
Whatever.
work. I don't want to
I-
waste the
but
money if.
we're not gonna know. I mean, let's try it,
But will
because,
we ever know? How do we test them?
I don't know.
How do you prove a negative?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well,
I just don't know how to
So
prove
you go to
if it
one of
works.
those houses that have COVID, you rub your hands on all this stuff, and then you come over here, and then you get the UV light, and then you get tested, right, and see what happens? Who wants to volunteer for
I don't
that?
know, because it's just,
I mean, I can buy some and we can, but I just don't know if it works. I don't know how we'll know if
Do you
it
think
works.
it would give people a sense of security to have those available rather than not?
Yeah,
For
we can
35
get one
bucks?
for every office and a couple for the library and at least have them around. Like I said, we have the grant money that, if it does work, then it's great to have.
Well, it's not gonna hurt,
Well, what
right?
does it say that it does do? Doesn't it have some? It
UV
must
light
have-
should kill 99.9% of
Portable
germs.
UV sterilizer
I mean-
wand, 30 seconds to
the
sanitize.
sun kills
Okay, yeah.
the
So it's the
germs
same-
on the playgrounds or outside anywhere, then
Yeah.
You don't
So
know.
what would they be expected to do? Just run it back and forth over the counters or something until?
Well, I
Or
think
the
even so,
desktops?
it's phones, laptops, keyboards, mice, counters. I mean, here they're showing it in people's cars. You know, it's battery operated. If people come in and sterilize their space,
Yeah.
It's not gonna hurt,
it's worth a shot to,
yeah.
right? it's
right?
worth a
Don't you
shot.
think?
I do. I just don't know if it's
Can we put a
False
couple of those
hope.
in the front door and just have them go up and down? So when people come in?
like a metal detector.
Yeah, it'd be like the ones at the airport, like that giant thing you gotta stand with your hands up on.
Yeah, I'll get them and at least we'll have them if, put them with everything else I
Right.
have.
If
in
nothing
my
else,
office.
we can have lightsaber fights. All right, so you guys are good, nothing else to
Okay.
add?
We didn't vote yet, did we? Did we?
You
not
did,
vote?
you
Oh, we
voted.
did, okay,
Yeah.
we're done then.
Okay,
Are we
thank
good?
you. Yep, you're good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. And thank Joe, too. I ran into him when I was down here the other day. Got a story from him about checking out, making them put the masks back on at the gas station. They were pumping without a mask.
Oh, yeah.
He got 'em.
Kids.
All right, let's move on to discussion and possible vote. We have annual appointments. Employee reappointments, we have quite the list here.
Yeah, so the list I left you is the most updated list from today. I heard from a couple more folks. Ed, I didn't hear back from you. Do you want to be back on the cable advisory?
Excuse me?
I didn't hear back from you on the cable advisory. Do you want to,
No.
did you say no?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass on it.
Okay.
Time for somebody else. I'd recommend Mike Wood. He,
Me?
for the Cable TV Advisory Board is a selectman's appointment.
We're gonna have time for that?
He was very vocal about a lack of progress, et cetera, of the advisory board. I'd like to recommend him as the selectman's appointee.
Do you wanna say something, Denise?
No, I just didn't know if you wanted to get to that, or if you wanted to just have Ed as a no for right now, and then deal with the ones that we don't have, however you want.
Yeah, let's deal with no for now, and then, I mean, how often did you guys meet?
Sporadic, I would say no more than 3, 4 times in a year, and that might even be a lot.
Well, and I think at some point, the board needs to look at the Cable TV Advisory Board's role, because their role specific, they were specifically created to work on the contract renewals. Otherwise, the scope hasn't really been defined. So at some point, you really will need to define what the role of that committee is. So maybe you hold off making other appointments to that committee until that time. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, 3 or 4 times a year is not all that.
It shouldn't be more than that. The thing that, and Tracy said it when he was in too, we talked about it one day at my house, that it'd be nice for them to have like a budget, an annual budget. I mean, we know the amount of money, we know how much it costs to pay people to record, and now they made that whole equipment list.
Historically, if you go through the minutes, it has not been the Cable TV Advisory Board's role to expend funds.
No, but it could be making recommendations to the Board of Selectmen, that'd be helpful. You know, if you meet with Chris and, you know, get his job defined, he's an expert in this stuff, and
Well, let's,
certainly we need advice on the purchases. I don't know this equipment.
yeah, I mean, I work in technology, so that's fine by me, but I've got a bunch of things on my plate already with
Yeah.
other departments and,
Well, we can hold off on that committee and come back to them. I mean, I think we should give them an interesting charge that's not overwhelming and that they're interested in doing.
Jason, did you want to stay on the open space and trails?
Yes.
So the blank spots are folks I did not hear from. Caitlin sent out an email on June 1st, and I sent out a follow-up last week. In the past, you have chosen not to reappoint the people that did not respond until they came forward and asked to be reappointed. It's up to you if you want to, how you want to handle that. We have 3 no's now, 4 no's with Selectman Watson. Everyone else that responded was seeking reappointment.
who are the other 2 no's?
They're on the back page in
Yep.
red.
There's
Ah,
3
okay.
things.
So you will notice, per our meeting last week, for anything that I serve in, the appointment date is through October 9th.
Okay.
Everyone else would be the normal 3-year or annual reappointments.
I had asked last year, we had, seemed like we had more no responses last year on no's. And I asked if a letter could go out to them because, and which we did find out, that a couple of them, their email address had changed. So, and if they didn't notify somebody at the town hall that their email address had changed, they wouldn't have got the information. So, we don't have that many of them that didn't respond. It maybe a letter could go out to them and see if they're still interested.
Yeah.
If they didn't respond to the email.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
No, but that just means I have to send letters to people who didn't respond to the 2 notices we've already sent. But that's fine. If your board wants me to send a letter, I'll send a letter.
Kathy, you want to add something?
well, do you really, if you want, I mean, if you want me to send the letters, I just need to know what you guys want me to say. Just say, we want to know if you're interested, I'll do the letters. You want them like typed? Were they typed?
Well, he
Yes,
doesn't,
they-
he's recommending not email. We've sent emails.
Okay,
He wants
so
formal,
I'll
he wants
type the
letters sent out.
letters. I'll type the letter as long as it's okay.
There's only 7. Oh,
It's not that many, I'll
I think
do
there's
it.
only 7.
Denise is not a clerk, I'll do it.
6,
Okay.
8, 9.
She's got a lot to do.
Well, after July 6th, I'll have more staff back in the building. So as long as we can wait till next week, I can have somebody else do it.
Yeah, I mean,
But right now,
I don't think
just don't
our
have the time.
financial director should be typing clerical letters. No, and I'll do it, I'll be glad to just do it if you want, it's up to you guys.
Do you think waiting until next week for them to?
Yeah, I would say if you don't reappoint those folks, we can send a formal letter next week and then give them till the end of the month to respond.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
so-
do that.
So I'll move favorable for everybody who said yes, and noting that Ed Watson said no, so he's not gonna get a letter either. And the blanks will get letters. That's my motion.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Okay.
Police Department.
We have board and committee appointments.
They were all on the same.
Yeah.
Yep, we have police now.
Going through my checklist, so we have the police department appointments. Anybody have any comments on that?
I had a quick question, just an information question. So Mike Vetz, is he the harbor master for Haverhill as well, or just us?
To be honest, I don't know that he's still in Haverhill. I don't
Okay.
communicate with him, so I don't know.
But he's our harbor master.
He is our harbor master.
And then we have two people who are dock keepers, so
Technically, they're dock masters is their name, but yes,
dock masters.
Yep.
So are these all paid positions on?
none of them are paid. The harbor master and dock masters are not paid.
We don't pay them anything?
Nope.
You just, why would he do it?
Well, Mike is.
Why do we do
Mike-
this?
Mike is
Oh, we
on
get
the-
paid.
He gets a boat.
Mike is on the river and maybe does one thing a year, if that, for us.
Okay.
And then the dock masters go down there and they're on their boats and they like taking care of the area and keeping in contact with folks from mooring. So they both volunteer, they
Okay.
enjoy it,
Well,
so.
that's great. Well, thank them for me. That's really nice. Okay, that was it. I just wanted to understand that.
So, anybody else have any comments on the police appointments? Ed?
No, I'll make the motion that we appoint the list as presented to us.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? Comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Great, we have appointment of temporary town clerk for 106 King Street project.
So I'll just give you a quick, so the question came up during a recent planning board meeting where Beth Cuniff, our town clerk's husband, submitted the project for 106 King Street. Someone questioned, as you'll recall, through a complaint, that it was a conflict of interest, she shouldn't be handling it, blah, blah, blah. Beth spoke to state ethics, who gave her a written opinion. We forwarded that to town council and had them provide a written opinion. They suggested the cleanest and most effective way would be for the Board of Selectmen under Mass General Law, Chapter 41, to appoint a temporary clerk. They stated it can be simply for this project, for when time stamping of just this project and reporting whether or not there is an appeal, and receiving the appeal, or reporting that there has not been an appeal. Beth has asked that it be Caitlin, my assistant treasurer collector. She's in the office. She's got the timestamp. So she asked if it could be her just for this project. So she is requesting the board make that appointment for the duration of the 106 King Street project. There may be additional projects, as obviously Kevin is a builder in town, so if anything else comes up, it would be an individual basis that she would ask for a temporary clerk to fill in just for those specific projects.
Okay. And when these decisions are timestamped, will they still get posted though, where the clerk stuff is, or is it gonna be a separate post?
No, so it's not so much, so they'll still be posted accordingly.
Okay.
It's really to document if an appeal has been filed within the 21 days, so that it's not an impartial third party
Correct.
accepting the
I get
appeal. And if there is no appeal, an impartial person says there has been no appeals in the 21-day period. That's really the basis for the
Okay.
temporary clerk.
Okay, so I'll move that we request Caitlin Gilbert to be appointed temporary clerk as provided in General Law, Section 41, Section 14. Is that all you need for the motion?
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Do I have to say the project or,
106 King.
for 106 King Street? Sorry, I meant-
Okay.
Yep.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? No? Sounds good to me. All those in favor?
Aye.
Right. Review of town meeting. What Kathy wanted?
You asked for it.
I asked us to go back through, because I know
We
we,
both kind of asked for it.
yeah.
Go ahead, Kath.
Well, we got the operating budget, which was the most important thing. I wonder in hindsight, should we have been outside? Maybe. I wonder in hindsight if we should have taken off articles that had anything that required a lot of explanation and waited for the fall, when maybe we could meet and talk more openly, because I think the communication was real difficult. I mean, I appreciate that everyone came out for it. That was great, and I wanted to thank people checking us in and the firefighters for taking our temperatures and all that. And I'm glad we got the budget that we need. I just feel like in hindsight, the communication was difficult, and maybe some of the articles should have been, we could have pulled off and waited for another time better. But That was it. Other than that, I thought it went as well as it could have.
Yeah, well, that room has always posed a problem for communications, and the fans blowing in there didn't help, and the masks didn't help, and the distancing didn't help, but, I mean, we got the necessary things done. There were a couple articles that got delayed, which is fine, but the majority of the business that needed to get done to make the next year easier for the town got done, so.
I do have one question, and that was, the equipment that we use here, right, is here. Where does the equipment we use there, is that stored at Bagnell School, or is that our equipment from here?
So it's a combination of both, and I actually want to thank Chris LaCory. I know on Monday night it was not working. We tested it for about 2 hours earlier in the day
He
Monday,
told me.
and every single microphone worked. We tested it in both rooms, we tested it in all different areas of the auditorium, so I don't know what happened Monday night, but everything was working Monday morning. So I know he was trying to figure it out, as we all were. We have talked about, so we use, so the Bagnell has the sort of built-in equipment that we use our microphones with.
Okay.
We've talked about purchasing a separate system that would then plug into just their speakers. So we've talked about some things since Monday that might make things a little bit better. I don't know what happened. Like I said, everything was working Monday morning, so.
I know when I got there, I talked to Chris about it, he said everything was working fine, and then, of course, when the meeting started, it didn't work fine. Not a knock on him, it's just,
Right.
No, I know. I
Right.
just wondered if it was the mixing of, I mean, I'm not a technical person. I don't know how all this works. but-
obviously, it'd be better if
but-
their equipment was their equipment to use for every event and every meeting we had there, since we do have town meetings there, it would be probably more efficient to have stuff there, always for there.
Right, well, so the issue was a few years ago, they were using our equipment and we were leaving it there, and then microphones were broken. When we went to town meeting, things were missing. So then
Okay.
Chris bought a separate set of microphones and he brings it there so that we know that those are good mics. They've added on to their equipment. Bagnell PTO, I think a few years ago, paid to upgrade, actually, it might have been when we had the December town meeting. They paid to upgrade some equipment. So we don't know if it's a combination of that it's using old and new stuff there, then adding ours to it. I don't know, but it was a good effort because he really ran around. I had Dwight over there. We were all sort of making sure everything worked and you could hear it and.
So maybe moving forward, that's something that Chris can take a look at, and so, because we do need that place. We might need to have a fall town meeting, and,
Well, we're always gonna have town meetings there, so
Yeah.
it'd be beneficial to make sure we have equipment there that's always gonna work there.
right, and that we talk to Bagnell so that if they change anything, Chris would have to know, which he obviously didn't know. He doesn't know what they do over there.
Right, so he
Right.
did go so he had gone the I'm trying to think of when I was there. I was there Wednesday, the week before. He went on Thursday, then we met again on Monday. So he had gone on Thursday and checked it out and ran his equipment, and did the first test. And then on Thursday, we tested on Monday morning, we tested everything. So, yes, so had he not known and something changed, he would not have known until Thursday when he got there before
Yeah.
town meeting.
Let's blame it on COVID.
No? No, it just means that we have to do a better job of figuring out what's there and what's gonna work and what we should buy to use there. So
Yeah.
it's
Right.
working going forward, and again, it's technology, you never know what's gonna work that day or not. Okay,
Okay.
so
That's
moving on to our favorite subject, finance director resignation. Not our favorite subject. So we have to accept the resignation effective October 9th, 2020 of our finance director,
So do we need a motion on that?
probably.
Yes, you should formally, you
Because
normally
didn't we
accept-
make a motion, though, at the last meeting on the option 5? Are we
You
making?
did, but you didn't actually accept my resignation formally.
Ah, so,
No.
so technically you can't leave.
So you do normally accept
Way to kill.
resignations in a public meeting.
Okay, so, I'll-
No, let's not do that. Let's
Okay.
move on to the next thing.
It'll just be on every meeting between now and
sorry,
then.
my mic's not working.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Okay, with reluctance, I will make a motion to accept the resignation of Denise effective October 9th, 2020.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Any further discussion? I do not want to accept that. All right, all those in favor?
Yep.
Yes, it's a sad yes.
All right, review, amend job description as needed.
So I
Seems to
don't
me
know how
like
you
it's
want to
going to
handle it.
be a long kind of session to do that now. I would suggest, and we can talk about it, that we review the paperwork that she has for a job description. And then maybe at the next meeting, come back with some amendments or questions or adjustments to that.
Yeah, however you want to handle it. I don't know what, we talked briefly last week, I think more casually, not while we were in a meeting, about what your plans are. Obviously, Joe Demore was here talking about continuing the discussion of moving forward to a town manager. Are you ultimately, as a board, planning to hire a finance director, full-time permanent? Are you going to hire an interim finance director like West Newbury did for a period of time while you go through the process? And then if either the process stops or doesn't pass, could then appoint them permanently. I guess those are the things you need to think of before we actually post the job. And then, once we decide to post the job, what do you want the job to look like? Obviously, what I currently do is very different than what I was hired under 6+ years ago. I made some recommendations, I gave you some recommendations last week that you should consider for the greater discussion regarding an administrative assistant, bringing a position back for that, outsourcing IT, and separating some things out of what I currently do so that it makes it a little easier for you to find someone to do really the basics of what you need. As we've talked about, again, I'm not sure if it was to all of you, one of the complications that I think you will find is by legislation, the position is a finance director, treasurer, collector. So that person is required to be your treasurer, collector. So that's really what you need to focus on. Then you have the other items like personnel and doing stuff for you all. So once you start adding that in, I don't know how many treasurer collectors out there are looking forward to moving into the administration side. So you have some things to think about that. As I put in my recommendations, you could certainly give Caitlin a bump and give her more responsibility as the assistant treasurer collector and have the finance director just hold the title of treasurer collector, but her do the bulk of the work. Because I just don't know what you'll find when you start looking at all the different things that I do and what you want to put in the new position. So we can certainly think about that. I have it on your agenda for next week. We can certainly keep that on the agenda, but you should have a specific timeline as to when you want to have something posted based on whatever you're looking for to bring in.
Well, I think posting something sooner than later is probably appropriate. I guess, based on what you said, we have to have multiple avenues prepared based on what we're looking for short-term, what we're looking for long-term, what we're looking for qualifications on both respects. So it's not a quick conversation, I don't think.
No, but I do think there are things you could do. So like I said, I think once you're ready, we can make a decision to outsource the IT. We already have a company that comes in on an hourly basis. Just give them sort of more responsibility, give folks a contact number if they need help. If you need a new account created, they can just be called and do most of it remotely. I do think we should look forward to hiring a part-time administrative assistant. That would require a transfer. I did speak to town council. Since we've had our town meeting, you cannot appropriate free cash under the COVID laws, so takes that off the table. But you could certainly ask the finance board if they would be willing to release some reserve fund, or you could take it, you could technically use it under the same salary and make a transfer at the next town meeting, under the finance director salary, depending on what you want to do. But I think that would take care of doing your agenda, doing the website, scheduling the meeting room, scheduling the field use. I do the annual report, so I'm thinking of the things that I do that really aren't in any of the job descriptions that would fall more normally under an administrative assistant to the Board of Selectmen. I think if you agreed to move on that path, that's something we could post and get hired while you still figure out what you want to do for this position.
Right. My personal opinion is to move forward with those things quickly, like this week, and then come back to the other important role that we're going to try to fill your shoes with, and what that looks like, and what those avenues we have to be prepared for. But let's go around the horn and see what people think. Jason, what do you think?
I agree with you.
Okay. Ed, what do you think?
If you look at the list that we were given on all the towns, cities and towns in Massachusetts, the majority of them have an administrative assistant for the Board of Selectmen, whether it be full-time or part-time. And if you look through the booklet, it doesn't specify full-time or part-time, but you're not going to get anybody to put in the time that Denise has put in for with all the work that she's done. And if we had a administrative assistant for the Board of Selectmen, even if it was a part-time position, that would be a benefit. It would take a little bit of the work away, responsibility away, and get back to a finance director that is a finance director and not doing all the work for the Board of Selectmen. That's really a clerk's position rather than a finance director's position. And so you're paying somebody a higher salary to be a clerk, and I think that needs to be looked at.
Didn't we move away from that position for a reason a few
It
years
wasn't
ago?
really for a reason, it was because the person retired, was full-time, was more of an executive secretary.
Yeah.
And the board had already incorporated many of the duties she was handling into my regular duties. So at the time, we thought, so back in we used to have it a combined position, the administrative assistant and treasury collections clerk to make a full-time position. Because I didn't, at the time, for me, there wasn't enough work to have somebody here even 15 hours a week doing your correspondence and the website. But if we can give them more things, like other things that I do, the annual report, the scheduling, you could probably have a 12 to 15-hour a week person regularly.
Okay.
And we already have a job description because we had it posted individually before it was combined, so I can certainly just fine tune that. Again, it would have to wait until after the you could vote it tonight, it would have to wait till after the July 6th Selectmen's meeting, and the Finance Board is meeting on July 8th to close out the year. So they would have to authorize reserve fund transfer at the time because there's no other funds available.
Kathy, what do you think about moving forward with the short-term
Well,
suggestions that?
I think we just went to annual town meeting, and we knew, at least a month out from that Denise might potentially leave, and that would have been the time to put it on the warrant. I think we supposedly have a position that's funded in the budget. Do we have a person in that position?
Which position are you referring
The
to?
assistant treasurer, collection clerk, administrative
So
clerk?
the treasury collections clerk, I have in the budget, it's posted, because I need that
Right.
help in my office. That's separate from the administrative assistant.
Well, again, this is the job description I pulled, it said administrative. I feel like, first of all, I don't feel like the reserve fund should be used to fund a salary just because somebody is leaving. I mean, we knew this, and we could have changed the warrant, we could have opened it up and changed it at any point. We spent a lot of time identifying all the tasks, we have that on a spreadsheet, we know that. We have a job description for the administrative assistant, treasurer, collections clerk.
Right, but that position's full-time, Kathy.
I realize
We
that.
don't have a full-time
Excuse-
position budgeted.
I understand this, I need to
Okay.
just, right. So I feel like, it looks like we don't know what we're doing. I'll type up the agenda every week if that's what has to get done. I don't care. I'll do that until we can do this properly with a town meeting. I don't feel, we have an unfilled position that can do clerical work. So scheduling the fields, if we can vote that if you want, but you have an unfilled position in the warrant right now. We voted it in the warrant, right?
Yes, but that position is the treasury collection clerk to help the treasurer collector's office that's gonna be short a person. So now you wanna add the selectman stuff back to that when it's only a
No,
15-hour
I
week
haven't
job.
finished what I'm saying.
But you just asked me if that was correct. I'm
I
answering
said,
your
all I
question.
wanted to know, it's not filled, right? That position, thank you. So, I mean, I spoke with West Newbury, they went through a similar process, and they went with an interim position until they knew exactly what they wanted. And I feel like it would be desirable right now to post for an interim financial director to fill this position with an understanding, because the job description includes some clerical duties, that there might
That's
be
the thing
some.
that we said that we'll take next week, because I want to have time to review
Okay,
what we were
good.
being presented with,
Good.
and then come back with any questions, adjustment to that job description.
Okay.
But I think we're talking about something else, where the things that you're saying that you're gonna do, you're not gonna have time to do that.
Let me just-
You're not gonna have time to
can I-
do, wait a second, you're not gonna have time to do the field stuff,
No.
the selectmen meetings, the agendas and all that
Excuse-
stuff.
Can I just say, first of all, voting the permits, the request, somebody has to take the request, but we can vote the permits. We can do that as part of our selectmen business. They always used to do it. But, well, I guess what my point is that we knew about this possibility at least a month out from annual town meeting. We had a warrant, we had line items, we voted all these lines, we have a job description. Why wouldn't we just hire an interim, negotiate the hours and how much of that job we want done, and see if there's part of that job salary left, and you want to use that to get somebody to contract part-time to do some administrative things, fine. But I think we need to work with the warrant that was voted at the annual town meeting and not create new jobs until we get a better idea of where we're going. I think we should hire an interim. And we have an unfilled position, and we can negotiate with the interim for how much of that salary is going to be used just for the financial tasks. We have this sheet, which I could share to everybody, where we identified all the tasks that Denise was doing that were outside her job description. It identifies the administrative assistant, when Nancy was here, all the tasks that she used to do. Because like we did a lot of this legwork already. I guess I'm wondering, why don't use this and just go with an interim? But I think, maybe we need a work session then. Because I don't think that this is like a slam dunk.
I'm completely
yeah.
lost in.
Okay, my point
You're-
is simple.
well, hold on a second.
Okay.
I'm responding to your comments.
Okay.
I'm completely lost at your dialogue on what we should be doing and what we should have done a month ago. You were part of this board. You could have made a recommendation. We
Well,
could
I
change
didn't feel the
warrant.
need. That's what I mean. I
But we
thought,
all had the same information at the same time.
well, I feel like we're covered right now with the budget that we have. I think the jobs will get done. I think we'll be able to go through with an interim period. And then during that interim period, you'll have time to figure out what else you want to do. I mean, as long as we bring somebody in on an interim basis, we can negotiate the contract and the duties, and you probably wouldn't use the entire salary for an interim, because we wouldn't maybe hire that one person to do all those tasks. As you say, as Selectman Watson said, some of the tasks are administrative and clerical and shouldn't be done at somebody's pay rate that's a financial director. This is a way to kind of figure that out and
But
work with the
That's
budget.
exactly what we talked about, because we're not going to hire a financial director in 3 weeks.
Right, but I mean, I've talked to the Mass Municipal Association as far as getting getting an interim posting up. It seems doable. You can talk with Glenn Kemper over in West Newbury. They went interim for a period of time while they figured it out. I just thought we should go interim and not try to do an emergency transfer to hire some clerical help when we have an unfilled clerical position. I realize it's not full-time, but it's completely unfilled right now. We haven't even hired anybody.
All right, Jason, do you want to add anything?
No.
Ed, do you want to add anything?
No, I think I said that you're not gonna get anybody, whether it's even on an interim basis, to put in the hours that Denise is putting in. And you're asking a person to work way below their pay grade, it would act as a clerk. And I think that with the money that was allocated for the finance director, you're certainly not gonna start somebody off at the same rate of pay. So there'd be a sum of money there
Yes.
that could be used for a clerk for the Board of Selectmen. And whether it be done at a special town meeting, there's a way to do it. And I think it, way too much duties and responsibilities for one person to be handling. And I think there should be, whether it's 15, 19 hours a week, a part-time administrative assistant for the selectmen that can do some of the clerical work.
Nisha, you want to add anything?
Nope.
I have a question.
Sure.
If we have that position that full-time position that's not being used right now?
It's not full-time, we didn't fund, yeah, it's funded part-time. How many hours, Denise?
So the position is posted, I've accepted resumes, and I started scheduling interviews. The position has been
Okay.
posted since March, because we need to get someone to help on the treasury collection side. So then if you're gonna start adding more hours to do administrative work, that is not in the job description that was posted, and that's gonna add more hours. It was for a 15-hour-a-week position.
15 hours.
So that means we'd have to repost it with more hours and a
No, but
new-
once you, if you go over 19, you're
Posted.
benefit eligible.
Right.
I'm surprised. This came from
You just showed up.
health agent, and Lauren said she went online, and they had plenty of it.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
That
thank
is
you.
awesome.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
Bonus.
Thank you.
So do we want to push all this off until Monday when we can all have a time to review the job description and what we want to do with what's been in the warrants? I'll take any advice anybody wants to give.
I would also add, you need a contingency that come August 14th.
Right.
So he needs to have contingency to your plan of what's going to happen 6 weeks from now.
Anybody have a position on that?
I think we got time before October 9th to come up with somebody, whether it be, you put out a job description, you bring in candidates. If you look around for, somebody has to be brought in on a temporary basis, to part-time temporary basis.
Yes, but just remember, I'm only here technically until August 13th. I'm still in the
In the
position until
office.
October 9th, but I'm
Oh, yeah.
only here until August 13th.
Right, so we have
So,
6 weeks.
Right,
So there's a couple of things we have to do, 2 tracks, basically. We have to find a part-time person.
well, you need to figure out what you're doing.
Right, which
and
I
then
don't think we
figure
have
out
a clue
the
what we're doing.
contingency is.
Right, and we don't have a contingency. We don't have anything. Go ahead.
okay, so I guess to simplify, maybe I said too many things at once. I'll try and pare it down. We have a job description of a financial director that we can post for an interim, and in the negotiation for an interim, we can pare back some of those responsibilities. We also have this whole chart that we worked on for months with Bill Dunn, where we identified the things that were in her job, the ones that used to be in the administrative job. I feel, to be fair, we need to go the interim route until there's a decision made whether this town wants to go to any kind of a town administrator, or do you want to go backwards in time and have a full-time administrative assistant and a financial director combined. I mean, they both cost a lot of money together. You get into more than clerical when you go to an administrative assistant of the level we used to have here. That was much higher level than clerical. But for now, if we post for an interim financial director, at least we'll start getting some resumes, and we could at least discuss. If you see after a few weeks that you're not getting anything that works, then we know we've got a problem. But we don't know, that we have a problem filling it as an interim at this point. Right?
I think the biggest issue is, from what's on here, it doesn't take care of any of the clerical stuff that needs to get done from the finance director's actual job description.
Well, no, it says agendas. I mean, I'm saying the interim probably won't want to do all that. But
Right.
that's in there.
But I
And
think
the-
what we were trying to discuss was how we were gonna get that taken care of. But I like your idea of posting this for the intern, because we could do
At
that
least
right
get the
away.
ball rolling.
I think we're talking about 3 different things. But I'm only one
Could
person.
be.
We are talking 3 different things.
Right.
I agree.
We're
Selectmen
talking
want,
3 different things.
yes.
But we're worried about one. And I want to make sure that we're not negating the other 2, because they all have to basically happen at the same time. So I'm just one person. It'd be nice if we had the 5th member here tonight to weigh in, but anybody can make a motion on whatever they want to post or not post, and we can go from there, but
Oh, no, you can have another meeting to discuss
Well,
further. that's
I mean,
fine.
if we're all in agreement on what we want to do for this meeting, then let's do it.
Our six
I
selectmen.
know, I just, even if you take the route to post for an interim of what?
Right.
Are you doing personnel, finance, legal? You have to figure out what you want an interim of. If you're gonna go back to the original finance director position that's statutorily in the legislation, that doesn't include personnel and everything that's been added, or are you including all of that so that someone continues to handle those things?
That's
So
what I
Even
mean.
if you choose to go an interim route, you need to know what you're looking an interim of what.
And that's why my head is spinning, because there's so many different pieces to your job that we're splitting up into different positions, and we're not all talking about the same thing. So, I mean, I want to get things done and rolling sooner than later, because we have limited amount of time, but I also don't want to rush it. So if we're all in agreement that something that we want to start working towards this today, and we have an outline for one of those roles that we want to post for, then let's get it going. Otherwise, let's digest this stuff over the next week, or try to, and then come back and discuss Monday.
Okay. What can we need to discuss? If you want, do you want to get from West Newbury what they posted for an interim? I mean, why reinvent the wheel? They went for something to patch it over. They were similar
okay
to
with
us.
that.
They lost their longtime financial director, and they went interim. to
For
give themselves-
financial director, and financial director only.
Correct, so they
Well-
did not have, it was not an administrative
I know,
position. They
I know.
had,
But she was a big part of how they ran things at that town.
right,
Tracy
but they have
was,
much more staff over there.
I know, I understand that.
And then you need to think of a salary that you want to post for an interim position if you're going an interim route.
Well, you can say it's negotiable too, up to,
Right, but you need an up to.
I
You
know.
need something to post.
Right. Well, that's why I'm saying we could ask them what they did, how much they posted it for.
Told you should have ran this meeting. What do you think?
I agree, because the sooner you get it posted, I mean, the finance director is a position you have to have.
Right.
And you're not gonna, I don't think you're gonna find a finance director that's gonna fill all those shoes.
You're not.
And I know we discussed that in the executive meeting, that we needed to split it up and how it was gonna happen, but I think some things have changed in terms of where those funds could come from, right?
Yes, so if you want to, I mean, and ultimately, you certainly can hire an interim at a lower rate and then have town, but then you can't move the money until you have a town meeting. So then you can't hire an administrative assistant until town meeting approves authorization of those funds, because you'll have no place to charge it to.
Right.
So, yes, you certainly could hire an interim. If you don't have a fall town meeting, then it waits till next spring. If you have a
Right.
fall town meeting, you'd have to have 100 people and go through that whole rigmarole.
Right.
That's the only reason I was recommending a reserve fund transfer, because the money's there and it's there now, and you could hire someone more quickly to deal with the administrative stuff right away. I normally would not have. I was gonna go the free cash route, but town council turned that down, so.
Right. That's why my head was spinning.
I know, I guess there used to be a time when the reserve fund could not be used for a salary unless it was an emergency that you didn't
This
foresee.
is,
That you didn't foresee.
But quite frankly, I didn't resign until last week.
I know.
So you couldn't have moved the money at town meeting because I didn't have a contract
Okay.
elsewhere and I had not resigned here.
Right,
And
so
that just would have been based on speculation, and you can't really
my
work on
question
that.
is, if there are clerical service that we needed to that we wanted to contract out instead of hiring, call them a contractor, we
Yeah.
could do that with the same salary, or could we? So these are questions I guess we need to get clarification on. I mean, we can ask the Department of Revenue, and you can ask West Newbury, they've been through it. But I get concerned that we have only a $20,000 reserve fund. It's the beginning of the fiscal year, and then we would not have a reserve fund unless you went to town meeting for an emergency. I guess that's where my concern is.
But I guess the opposite is true. You could transfer the money and then at a special town meeting, take the money out of the finance director line and put it back in the reserve fund.
But-
If you only transferred a small amount.
But in
sorry.
the interim, we don't have that access to that for an emergency. I mean, getting town meetings right now during this COVID, we've already seen, this is a difficult process. I'm trying to see if we can do this without having to plan on a town meeting to refund a reserve fund, but those are just my thoughts. I feel like the reserve fund is a very small amount of money for the whole town for an emergency.
Ed, do you have anything else to add?
I have nothing else, Dan.
This is not gonna be easy.
So Monday's agenda?
But I'm fine with it, because I wanna have time to read through some things, but if somebody is comfortable with making a motion and outlining what they want to do to get something posted this week, then have at it.
No, I'll wait, because then you'll at least have Bill back here to weigh in on this as
You want to
well.
wait till Monday? Have some time to review this information,
Yeah, we can
given
do
that we have different,
I don't think it's gonna make a difference in another week.
okay. Denise, can you print out your job description?
Yep, it's in your packet. Oh, I didn't print it out tonight. It's in the packet.
Right, can you print that out for me, please? And then that way I can have that to mark up on the
You can
notes.
have this copy of mine
It's
if you
right here. I
want.
No, I
have
remember
Phil
that.
O'Neill's copy.
That stuff was all done, well and done as far as moving towards a town administrator.
But the nice part is we really did identify, we identified
Right,
what she does that's not in her job description.
Right.
And the additional duties in her job. Well, pass it to Jason then, so he has it, because I have it, so.
yeah, this was done over the last year and a half. So that has some good background on what we decided, who was gonna be doing what, if we move forward with the town administrator or whatever we're doing. All right, Board of Selectmen liaisons is the next topic.
I mean, Bill's not here, so
Yeah.
we could wait. I just, like I said, I was here on.
What's on the
one
next
year.
agenda?
I could wait 2 weeks on that.
So,
Joe,
Joe,
Yeah,
this, and Perry Park are the only three things on the agenda for, but I don't know, they each could take a long time. I don't.
Perry Park. Oh, yeah.
we could wait till later, than the one after that one.
The only thing that I wanted to talk about, I mean, most of that Selectmen liaison stuff can wait. I did want to talk about the Pentucket request.
It's
Well,
on there. That's
It's
your
the next
next,
thing.
your next item.
So.
All right, so let's look at that.
Okay.
Board of Selectmen member participation on the school health and safety protocol return team.
But if I can add to that, so they were originally looking for a member to participate overall. Now they've fine-tuned it to really Bagnell. So Bagnell's the only one, the high school team and the middle school team are filled. So they're
Oh.
looking for a selectman or I've sent it to Deb and Claire. They'd like their participation as well. So if there's a member to participate in the Bagnell team.
So that meeting was Wednesday at 1.
I,
I
they didn't
think.
give me a specific, I know it's Wednesday. I didn't hear a specific
Is that
time.
every Wednesday at 1, or is it just,
I don't know. I just told them I'd let them know tonight, whoever was gonna be available for Wednesday.
so if it's every Wednesday at 1, that might be tough for me to do. If it's this Wednesday at 1,
I see the most recent email was Jim Day. Our first meeting will be a virtual meeting at 1 PM on July 1st.
oh, it's a
He didn't
virtual
s-
meeting.
Yeah,
Yes. He
Okay.
didn't say if it was going to be weekly at this point.
Yeah, I can,
didn't see that part on here.
Because Jim emailed me separately yesterday, or last night at 10 o'clock. So the original request came in from Jonathan Seymour, but when I told him you guys were meeting, that we couldn't just pick a member outside of a meeting, he got back to me on Thursday or Friday and said now middle and high school were filled, and Bagnell is now looking for someone.
oh, yeah, I didn't know that middle and high school were filled. So I'm happy to do the meeting this Wednesday. I don't know if it has to be the same person at each meeting, or if we can
we could
designate.
rotate it if you want.
I think it's probably most important that we have someone that has kids in the school system attend that meeting. My kids are out of Bagnell, but they are in the school system.
And Bill has kids.
Bill has kids in that school
Right,
system, but out of Bagnell.
my school, I'm on a task force that's meeting on Wednesday, Zoom, similar. And so the thing that we were waiting for was the Department of Education to put out some, they call it guidance, as to what would have to be in place for the children to come back to school. So you might want to take a look at it, but it's similar to the phasing where it gets confusing, like, it's guidance.
So I'm happy to take at least this
Okay.
Wednesday's meeting if the board wants to vote for that.
I'll move for Mike Wood to represent us at the meeting on Wednesday at the Bagnell, or Zoom.
I'll
So-
second that.
So you're, oh, recommendation or your motion is for just this Wednesday to start?
Well, that's what he's saying. I mean, if he can make the others,
I
the
mean,
continuity would be great, but,
that'd be my preference, but I don't know.
all right, so we'll make a motion for him to be our appointee, and if he needs to ask somebody to take one for him, he can do that.
That's fine by me.
Okay, so I'll move for Mike to be our appointee to the Bagnell School Health and Safety Protocol Return Team.
And I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Perhaps if you, at the first meeting, you can get a handle on whether it's gonna be every week or not. And,
Yes. Yeah, every week would probably be tough for me, but if it's once a month.
Well, I think every week will be tough for probably anybody.
Yeah. Well, I also work
But
for.
it does make sense to have somebody that's got the kids in the school.
And I think the continuity makes sense to
Yeah.
have the same person as most often as you can.
Okay. All those in favor?
Yep.
Abstain? Okay, so if you want to tell Jim to include me on that
Yep.
meeting invite, I'll block off that time. Votes of the board, acceptance, the retirement of Patricia Rogers, Water and Sewer Office Manager, effective August 28th, 2020.
This, I don't imagine that she's been here for 34 years. This is gonna be a tough position to fill. When you go into the water office, she jumps right up and very good, customer-oriented. She's done a great job. And tough one to get somebody to do the same job that she's been doing.
So
Did he make a
is that a
motion?
motion for that?
Sure, I'll make a motion. We accept her retirement effective August 28th, 2020.
Is there a second?
A second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Echo Selectman Watson's comment that Patty was one of the first people I met when I moved here. It's hard to believe it's been that many years. Her brother Dick Shaka worked right beside her next door for a while, and anytime I had a question or I made a mistake on my bill, which I did do a few times, Patty was always the person to get in touch with me and straighten it out. She's a very good person. Did a great job.
All right.
Big loss.
Yes, that's a long time to
Yep.
be working for the town. She's done a great job. All those in favor?
Yep.
Accept the resignation of Ronald Mertens from Council of Aging effective June 29th, 2020.
I'll make the motion, we accept the resignation of Ron Mertens from the Council on Aging, effective June 29th, 2020.
Second?
I'll second that.
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor?
It's another one that has done a great job and has been a benefit to the town. You know, he does volunteer work here. Another one that'll be a loss.
All right, moving on to Finance Director's time.
So the only thing I think I have for you tonight is the Pines bathrooms will be closed Wednesday, July 1st through the 5th. Steve will be on vacation, and by state requirement, they have to be cleaned daily, so we will not have anyone available to clean the bathrooms for that period of time. So they will be closed.
That it?
That's it.
Sweet. Selectmen's times and reports. Ed?
Yeah, a couple things. We did speak about the audio at the town meeting. Well, that should have been covered prior, but that, again, it seems like every other meeting we got problems. I think there were 2 microphones that didn't work down there. We can do better. Maybe it's time to look into wired mics rather than these handheld mics that run off of batteries. I think there were 2 mics down there that weren't working. One was at the selectmen's table, and another one was up at one of the microphones set up in the hall. We need to look, well, there's plenty of money in the cable TV fund. We need to update these and get something that's gonna work all the time. The other thing, I know in a past meeting, we'd brought up about the filling of the land at Perry Park. I don't know if anything's been done about that
That's on the agenda next week.
next week. And the third thing is opening up the town yard on Wednesday afternoons. You know, they're open on Saturdays. That seems to be going good. Hasn't been that crowded, but we haven't done the approval for opening it up on Wednesdays yet.
The Saturday schedule, how far out did we make that available?
It's just open now on Saturdays from 8 to 2. So it's open longer on Saturdays, instead of having the 2 days currently.
Do we know if the volunteers are willing to be down there on Wednesdays as well?
I don't know, I believe it's only one volunteer. He's been by himself now to cover.
Right.
The other volunteer, not volunteer because we pay them, was not comfortable being down there, was not comfortable wearing a mask, so I don't know. I don't know if there's a need to open on Wednesday where we're open all day or we're open longer on Saturday.
You want to ask them what what his comfortability is with?
Well, I'll ask the highway superintendent who oversees the project.
Yeah.
He can certainly reach out to his staff.
Okay. And leave it up to them, really. I mean, if he's comfortable opening it up for a few hours on Wednesday, then.
Close it back at noontime on Saturday instead of having the additional hours on Saturdays?
If he's gonna open another day, then I guess it'd be up to him if he.
It was Saturdays was always 8 till 2.
It was 8 to 12. We were doing 4 to dusk on Wednesdays and 8 to 12 on Saturdays. We're now doing 8 to 2 on Saturdays.
My recollection, it was always 8 to 2 on Saturdays. We'll check on that.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the hours go, I've been down there a couple times on Saturday, and it hasn't been that busy. Maybe that's just the time that I go down, but whatever he's available to and want to do, and what we need to do for another day, if it's needed, or if he thinks it's required. I mean, he's down there all day, so he knows what the volume is.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I've gotten complaints, which at some point you'd have to have a larger conversation about it. Apparently, the neighbors have been complaining that people are going in with uncovered loads of brush, and the leaves and stuff are flying all over the neighbors' yards. And they've seen contractors going in and out. So neighbors have called and said they recommend, which we've talked about for the last few years, a permit system that people get a permit to dump, and then someone's just checking to see if they have a sticker on their car so that you know that there's no commercial use. Because the direct abutter has said there are contractors going in and out of there regularly. So at some point, we need to have a larger discussion on the town yard.
Right.
I told him, he called me a few weeks ago, I told him I'd bring it up, but it wasn't a priority at the moment, given what we had going on. So I'll ask Rennie about the yard, but then we'll need to have, at some point, you'll need to have a larger discussion
How
about it
that
in general.
permanent system would work, and who's gonna handle that?
Well, it's not unlike we do with the boat ramps. We could issue permits. And like I said, then no one needs to really, they could sit there a safe distance and just check for stickers.
Right, okay.
But, I don't know. I'll ask him.
All right. Jason, do you know what selectmen time and reports are?
Just from what I've seen people reporting on.
Do you have any questions?
do not.
Anything to add? Okay.
Not right now.
Any future agenda items?
Not yet.
Yeah, just a couple more months, you'll be up to speed. Kathy?
I have a request, and we all got this, I think, or maybe I just did it, as far as, and I made a kind of a sheet of it. We can, if we wanted to, we can put it on our town website, the data on gas leaks in Groveland. And it's not like to scare people, it's not like anything's gonna blow up.
Thanks.
It's, yeah, like you walk past, like I know on Washington Street, I was taking my walk, they recently dug up there, as you walk by, you still get a little scent. But, if you go on the link, I'm assuming everybody got the same email that I did, Denise. It's in our email, this gas data, that you click on the link and it shows you on the map where these are, and you could leave it, it could be posted on our town website if people were interested to see the history of gas leaks and repairs in Groveland. They have like a little yellow for one that's not repaired, and red for ones that have been repaired. And, you know, so if you're ever walking around and you smell and you wonder, you could look on that map. It'd be like an information thing. They said they're willing to put it up. They get their data directly from the utility, so I think it's legitimate, but it would require us saying, yes, we were gonna give them permission to put this on our site.
Can I ask where you got it? I don't remember seeing any emails
Oh,
about that. So if it was something with a link or something, I can easily put it on our website.
yeah, it is. It's,
Some of this,
yeah,
gas smells are basically a release valve from that system that
Oh.
purge that pressure to a certain
just like-
amount.
Really?
Yeah, because it's happened at my house and it's happened at other places I've lived.
Okay, so,
Interesting.
And it relieves that pressure,
Gas
if
leak
the pressure's too
collars.
high, so it's not, you know, automated thing, but
yeah,
I
it's.
haven't heard anything else been a problem with gas leaks anywhere.
The only place that I believe is, that I know of is on Union Street. And I believe the fire department and
Is-
National Grid have been out there several times the last few
Yes.
years.
Yep.
Right. There's some that just haven't been fixed, I guess, but, let me just look in the other place, see if it's there. I'll send you the one.
If it's just a link to be added, then it seems.
Yeah,
like
it's just a
Just a
link.
link, I
Let
can
me
just
just,
add it.
I'll
Yeah,
send that to you.
Just forward
yeah.
it to me, I can
Yeah,
easily add
thank
it.
you. I just thought that was, you know, another piece of information for people to know if they're wondering about stuff like that.
And I will just comment, this morning I sent you all an email about I'll put in quotes now, transformer that
Yeah.
blew.
Oh, yeah.
It was not a transformer, it was a balloon. Apparently a metallic balloon floated up and got stuck in the wires and caused the wires to catch fire. So
A
there was no
balloon?
transformer. The electric company had to go and rerun wires because according to the fire chief, it was a metallic balloon that got twisted and ignited the wires.
What is a
Really?
metallic
Wow.
balloon?
I guess
A
like a
Zeppelin?
Mylar. I'm
Somebody had a
assuming like
Zeppelin like
Mylar.
One of those balloons can do that?
That's what he said. He said it was he said metallic, but I'm assuming it was a Mylar balloon.
Really?
And that caused the wires to fall down on the road?
No,
No.
they caught
Caught
on
on
fire.
fire. melted.
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
they caught fire and they had to go and rewire them. So it was not an
Wow.
actual transformer this morning.
Oh, here it is, okay,
Are
so,
are we looking to have a discussion, an agenda item on these on the gas leaks?
I don't think so.
I'm just
Did-
forwarding
did you
the,
want-
link to Denise.
Well,
and-
yeah, if you're gonna have a discussion on it, I'd like a discussion on, the gas company repairing their trenches, properly repairing the trenches, which,
I
when you
just
drive
sent you
down
the
the
link if
streets,
you want to send it to me.
you run into, some of the trenches that the gas company has put in, and then they're not repaired properly. And,
Ask them to comment on that?
I don't even know who.
This is not this company is, I just forwarded to Denise.
Wouldn't
Can
that be
you
National
forward it to
Grid?
all of them so I don't?
Yeah, it hasn't
buy-
come through yet, but I'll
National
forward it
Grid,
out.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, but this is a Dominic Nicholas he's with an organization that tracks gas leaks. Like once you get the link from Denise, you'll be able to look at us or any other town in the state. It's really kind of interesting. They're actually interested in the emissions and the quality of air because of the gas leaking. So they're a little bit on the environmental side, but I just thought it was really good information
Can you,
to have.
do we have a contact at National Grid that can answer that kind of thing? I don't even know where to start with that. Not that anybody answers the phone
I've
anymore
never dealt
anyway.
with National Grid since I've
Yeah.
been here. I
Do
mean,
you
I can
know
certainly
anyone?
call a generic number, I
No,
guess.
Maybe
not
Rennie
since they
does,
cha-
or
Not since they
Billy?
changed over, but maybe we could ask the highway superintendent to, find somebody.
Yeah, he has to approve the street opening permit, so he would have at least who's requesting to
Oh.
open the street.
Yeah, we can start there.
So, I'm sorry, what do you want me to put something on the agenda about National Grid?
Well, I think we need to talk to the highway superintendent first to see if they have a contact and what they think about those repairs. And then decide if we need to have an agenda item or bring National Grid in to comment on how the
Is-
repairs are being done.
But in the meantime, is it all right? I sent her the link
Yeah.
thing. She can put it up on our website so you can go in and you can, any resident can look and see.
I don't have a problem with more information.
Okay,
Is that it?
that's
You?
all. Yeah, thanks.
All right, for me, it's just something simple. I had a lengthy conversation with Senator Tarr. When was that? Week and a half ago, I guess. Couple things on the item that I wanted to run by him was the Valley Screw Building on Washington Street, and that's obviously going to be delayed on any kind of path forward with the state. And the federal EPA people, so that looks like that's gonna be ongoing, but, once the COVID case and the pandemic dies down, we'll try to get that back on track. Also talked to him about the taxable income decrease that the state's going to be having moving forward and how that's going to affect any kind of funding for anything, going forward. I also talked to him about the 40B projects, not only in Groveland, but in the surrounding towns that affect the school district and the number of people that that's going to bring to town, along with the number of children and the increase to traffic to the three towns and how that's going to affect the new school that is just getting started. My concern is that with the projects proposed in West Newbury, I think the project coming online in Merrimack, and then our project, that increase is going to deem our school, depending on the number of kids, inadequate, which is ridiculous, that we have no way to fight that kind of increase. Which apparently no one at the state level thought about that when it comes to 40Bs and how that affects building projects that are mandated. We meet certain criteria, but 40B numbers are kind of up in the air and nobody thinks about how that's going to affect those projects. And that's pretty much it for me. Moving on to old business. Kathy, you have anything on old business?
I do. The Mill Pond, the old Mill Pond Recreation Area,
Yep.
if it's okay with the board members here, I'd like to try and spec out like what it would take to restore that to like a passive recreation area now that the building is not in use by the Water and Sewer Department. I know they moved out some things, but there's a lot more cleanup that could be done there to make that property look a little more like it's to.
I think we're gonna use that just for storage, right?
Well, the
building.
upstairs part of the building, the
Yeah.
middle floor, I don't know what you'd want to use it for, but I thought it might be a nice community kind of project, and I know in my walks by there, some of the residents around there were kind of interested in it, because they live near it. Maybe people would, once this COVID thing is safe for us to meet again, I was kind of waiting for the time when we can actually all have meetings here or over at that property and see what people would like to see there.
Well, you can do that socially distancing, if people are okay with that.
If they go outside there, yeah, they could look at it, yeah, schedule a meeting, maybe one of the summer meetings over there and take a look and get some ideas. It looks horrible right now, but it could be very pretty. You
Okay.
know, the pond is completely hidden by the overgrowth.
Jason, anything on that old business?
Used to be a swimming
We
hole,
have
but
any
I
old
don't
business
think
yet?
In the
that's,
last week,
We're
anything come
working
up?
on it.
Anything on old business from last week?
yeah.
Ed, anything on old business?
Nothing.
Okay.
All right, correspondence, fire department fiscal year 21 reappointment roster. Do we have to vote on that?
Nope, he makes the appointments, that's informational only.
What I thought. We have the minutes from June 11th, 2020. Minutes from June 22nd, 2020. We have executive session minutes from June 24th, 2020. And I think that's it.
So one quick thing, so you will not have full agenda packets for next week, because right now I have nothing to put in it, and I'm gonna post the agenda before I leave tonight, because I'm off the rest of the week.
Okay.
As we've discussed, Joe Demore will be on there, my position will be on there, and Perry Park. If anything else comes up, we can add it, but there's nothing for correspondence right now, so you will not have agenda packets for next week. So that's all I have.
Counting on a light meeting.
I thought of one future, not next week, but future beyond that, that 40B, he offered to let us come out for a site visit. I would be interested in seeing that site, to see how it's going. You know, the filling in part of it?
Yeah. Reach out to them.
I
You want
think he
me-
would probably let you, anyone at any time, if you
Okay.
reached out.
But does anybody else on the board want to go in there? and see
I
it?
was out there
Oh, okay.
2
so-
years ago.
Right,
So I haven't
I've,
been out there recently, so.
so do you want it to be like a board site visit, or just whoever wants?
We do a board visit, then we have to post it and all that.
Isn't that fun?
No.
But you just have to post, you don't have to take minutes as long as you
Well,
don't
no, if
discuss
we
it.
did it like prior to
Post
one
it.
of the future meetings, not the 6th, but later, you know.
You
Just-
wanna go there?
Sure.
Why don't you and Kathy go, and then you guys can come back and
Fine,
talk to us.
fine, Mike, we'll just go.
You don't have to go.
I was out there when when met with the state, a man from the state come in to approve the project. I'll look the project over just to see if it would be worthy of a 40B.
Yeah, that was a year and a half ago?
And I don't know, you weren't there on that one.
No, but I was
Wasn't
out
that-
there prior to that.
Yeah, that one wasn't that long ago, maybe a year
No,
ago.
And I asked at that time, I asked the guy from the state, this was his sole job, I guess, one of his sole jobs, and I asked him, I said, how many of these have you not approved? And he said, none.
Yeah. They're just-
And why are we
That's
here?
what it
Yeah,
Just to rubber stamp it.
Yeah,
They're all rubber stamped. 40Bs are shoved down our throats, so.
Yeah.
Which brings me back to some of the things I discussed with Senator.
well,
Clark.
yes, but we could take a look at the, how the quarry fill is going, and also that new site that's going to be filled. I'd like to understand that a little better. To see-
On that note, I have been talking to the fire chief, who's part of the communications with the company that is doing the blasting.
I heard about
So
that.
he tells me the schedule when he gets it, and I put it on the crier so people know that this is the schedule for the blasting as far as we know. So I will continue to do that as we get information, and he'll relay that information to me as he gets it. So hopefully it's a couple days ahead of time, but it is what it is.
Is the blasting because, are they trying to like collapse the quarry wall into the hole, or what is the blasting
Honestly, I
for?
have no idea what the blasting does.
Oh, okay, I was just curious, because I thought they were filling the quarry, not blowing it up.
No, I think they're getting rid of some of the ledge. So they're filling it up, but then they're taking part of it down.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
I think that was his original plan.
All right, can we get a motion to adjourn at 6:10?
Motion adjourned at 6:10.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Done.
Good job, Jason.